Dragon Warrior, the epic beginning of a new era in video games. The Dragon Lord has captured the princess and stolen Erdrick's powerful ball of light. You are Erdrick's heir. To you has fallen the most dangerous task, to rescue the king's daughter and recover the mystic ball of light. Your mission is deadly, but it is your fate. Use cunning and wisdom to choose your commands. Gain experience, weapons, and armor as you battle your way through the world. Search out the Dragon Lord's lair and face your destiny. In this role-playing adventure, you are the Dragon Warrior. And this is Dragon Warrior from Chunsoft and Nintendo, released in 1989. Known, as I'm sure most of you know, as Dragon Quest, over there in a little tiny island in Asia. This was the first role-playing game in the Dragon Quest franchise. It was developed by Chunsoft for the NES and published by Enix in 1986 for the Famicom. It was ported and remade for several different platforms, including the MSX, the NEC PC in 9801, the Sharp X68000, the Super Nintendo, and the Game Boy Color, also mobile phones. During the game, we control a hero who is charged with saving the kingdom of Alefgard and rescuing its princess from the antagonistic Dragon Lord. Dragon Warrior's story, later became the second part in a trilogy that encompasses the first three games in the series. Several anime and manga which revolved around this overarching plot were created, and two of the manga take place between the events in Dragon Warrior and its prequel, Dragon Warrior 3. The game was created by Yuji Horii, who took inspiration from previous RPGs such as Wizardry, Ultima, and his own 1983 title, The Portopia Serial Murder Case. Horii wanted to create an RPG which would appeal to a wide audience of people who were unfamiliar with the genre or video games in general, place a greater emphasis than any other RPG on storytelling and emotional involvement, and expose the mainly Western genre to Japan. Manga artist and Dragon Ball creator Akira Toriyama produced the game's artwork, and Koichi Sugiyama composed its music. The North American localization, reached in 1983, featured numerous changes, including battery-backed RAM save games rather than using a password, modified character sprites, and pseudo-Elizabethan English-style dialogue. Dragon Quest was commercially successful in Japan, and its release as Dragon Warrior in North America was less favorably received. Later, Western critics noted the game's shortcomings, but acknowledged its importance to the genre. Its original pseudo-Elizabethan English script has been praised in many of these reviews. Fan-made ROM hacks were released with substantial changes to the game. The game's sound effects have also been orchestrated, and its music has been performed at numerous concerts. As a whole, Dragon Warrior has been credited with establishing the basic template for the Japanese console RPG that followed. Dragon Warrior, being a role-playing game, has some pretty basic gameplay mechanics. Years after its release, it is often described as simplistic and Spartan. Players control a young hero, set out to defeat the Dragon Lord, blah blah blah. We are presented with a menu, which allows us to begin a new game, continue an old game, change the message speed, blah blah blah. Japanese version, continuing a quest requires you to enter a password. In the American version, obviously, it is saved into the cartridge's battery backup, known in the game as an adventure log in the Imperial Scrolls of Honor. The English version also has options to delete or duplicate saved games, blah 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 blah. The hero's name has an effect on his initial ability scores and their statistical growth over the course of the game. Each stat falls into one of two categories, one with faster growth than the other, and the game determines which path each stat uses with a formula based on the kana, or letters in the character's name. Dragon Warrior presents the player with a clear objective from the start and uses a series of smaller scenarios to increase the hero's strength in order to achieve the objective. The game begins in King Lorik's chamber in Tantagel Castle, where the hero receives information about the Dragon Lord, whom he must defeat, and the stolen balls of light, which he must retrieve. After receiving some items and gold, the hero sets out on his quest. Much of Dragon Warrior is spent talking to townspeople and gathering information that leads to additional places, events, and secrets. Players are advised to take notes of these hints for future reference. Towns contain shops and sell improved weapons and armor, general stores where we may buy other goods, inns that allow you to recover health and magic, and shops that offer keys for purchase. Players may sell items at half the price to shops that provide weapons, armor, or general goods. Our stat window is shown whenever we stop moving, displaying current experience level, amount of hit points, magic points, gold, and experience points. Pretty basic little RPG stuff, right? Right. Dragon Warrior is the sequel to Dragon Warrior 2. Or excuse me, Dragon Warriors 2 is the sequel to Dragon Warrior. Dragon Warrior 3 is the prequel to Dragon Warrior, and they comprise a trilogy with a shared timeline. The story's background begins when the kingdom of Alfgard was shrouded in permanent darkness. The brave warrior Erdrick, known as Loto in the Game Boy Color remake, defeated an evil creature and restored light to the land. In Erdrick's possession were the Balls of Light, which he used to drive away enemies who threatened the kingdom. Erdrick handed the Balls of Light to King Lorik, and Alfgard remained peaceful for a long time. The Balls of Light kept winters short in Alfgard and helped maintain peace and prosperity for the region. However, there was one man who shunned the Balls of Light's radiance and secluded himself in a mountain cave. One day, while exploring the cave's extensive network of tunnels, the man encountered a sleeping dragon who awoke upon his entrance. He feared the dragon would incinerate him with his fiery breath, but the dragon instead knelt before him and obeyed his commands. The man, who was later discovered to be a dragon, became known as the Dragon Lord. One day, after his soul became corrupted by learning magic, the Dragon Lord attacked Tantagel Castle and the nearby town of Breckenry with his fleet of dragons and set the town on fire. Riding a large red dragon, the Dragon Lord descended upon Tantagel Castle and stole the Balls of Light. Soon, monsters began to appear throughout the entire land, destroying everything in their paths. Much of the land became poisonous marshes. Some towns and villages were completely destroyed. The following day, Erdrick arrived at Tantagel Castle to speak with King Lorik and offered his help to defeat the Dragon Lord. After searching the land for clues of the Dragon Lord's whereabouts, Erdrick found that he lived on an island that could only be accessed via a magical bridge that only a rainbow drop could generate. After venturing to this island, Erdrick was never heard from again. Many years later, during King Leoric the 16th's reign, the Dragon Lord attacked the kingdom again and captured Princess Gwaelin. Many heroes tried to rescue the princess and recover the Balls of Light from the Dragon Lord's castle, called Charlock, but none succeeded. The prophet, Maheta, predicted that one day a descendant of the valiant Erdrick shall come forth to defeat the Dragon Lord. However, when the descendant, our hero, arrived, many people of Alfgard have forgotten the story of Erdrick, and those few who do remember consider it a myth and do not believe in the prophecy. King Lorik starts to mourn the decline of his kingdom. Well, how about that? What can I tell you about the game? Not much that you don't already know, I'm afraid. It's you know, pretty important game when it comes to RPGs. If I were to read you everything that I've looked up here, it would take half an hour. And I'm not going to do that. Just watch the Let's Play if you want that. It will be getting uploaded soon. It's, you know, back in the day when Dragon Warrior came out. You played Dragon Warrior, you played Final Fantasy, you played them both. Most times, people would pick one that they liked over the other. In Japan, it was Dragon Quest. In America, it was usually Final Fantasy. I've got the cartridge for the first Dragon Warrior game. I've got the cartridge for the first Final Fantasy game. I bought them both new back in the day, and I enjoy playing them both equally. Dragon Warrior does move a lot slower. It does take a lot longer to get things accomplished because there's a lot more grinding involved. But at the same time, the game's also quite a bit smaller, so what can you do? Anyway, if you are a fan of RPGs, and you have not played Dragon Warrior, the first one, not any of the remakes, the NES version, you owe it to yourself to do so at least once.